Okay, time to do some History Hammer. Let's get into the Vostroyan Firstborn and let's see what they have to offer. Oh my goodness, good sir! Okay, Vostroyan Firstborn, Vostroyan Hussars, Polish Winged Hussars, already knew that. The heavy infantry, that kind of looks like the Streltsy. Okay, and their mustaches and culture interdiction and that's pretty Cossack, yeah. So it appears that they're based off all three of these. I mean, I'm sure I can just cover one of them and do the other two at some other point in time. It shouldn't be that much of an issue. Right? Right?
So in the name of the Omnissiah and the Emperor, I officially declare this fucking party started!
Holy Emperor!
A squat for the Emperor, the Holy Divine Emperor. A squat for the Emperor, the Emperor protects us. A squat for the Emperor, the Holy Undead Emperor. A squat for the Emperor, Ronald's no stand up for purple.
Сука, блядь, Иринатови говно, урод. Ай, блядь. Почему мои семечки? Salutations Rangers, General Bradley 101 back again with some more lore. And in today's episode we are going to be covering the Vostroyan Firstborn. So, as the intro may have alluded to, I bit off a bit more than I could chew for just one History Hammer episode. Originally, it was going to be just, plain old History Hammer with the Polish Winged Hussars and the Vostroyan Hussars. But then I realized that they had a lot more influence and lore.
I am never gonna financially recover from this.
So, yeah, I'm gonna have to divide this up into 3 different episodes. Well, 4 technically.
2 plus 2 is 4, minus 1, that's 3, quick maths. Boom!
So you have this one, which is gonna be a primer on the Vostroyan Firstborn. Then we will have a solid Polish episode of the Winged Hussars and Vostroyan Hussars, then a good old heavy infantry of the Vostroyan heavy infantry, and the heavy infantry of the Streltsy, or rather the Tsar-God Streltsy, and then finally we'll have a video talking about the Cossacks and their impact and culture on the Vostroyan Firstborn. Do I need to do all this? No. Why am I doing all this? Because I am who I am and God made me this way. Deal with it. So, make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, all that wonderful YouTube stuff. Check out my boys Alex and Tom down below. Sign up with the Patreon, the memberships, drop me a super thanks, all that wonderful stuff. But, without any further ado, let's get into the Vostroyan Firstborn. First, we start up with the Vostroyan Firstborn's homeworld, that of Vostroya. Vostroya, much like almost every world in the Imperium of Man, can trace its lineage all the way back to the Dark Age of technology, more specifically, its rule under the interstellar human empire of old, where it was established as a thriving mining colony, and eventually a manufactorum world, as it had the unique opportunity of being able to mine and also produce goods and gear, meaning that the direct mining of goods had an impact on the creation and manufactorum of arms and armor, and not only that, but also equipment, as if you're mining ore directly from the planet, and one of your mining things happens to break, lo and behold, you happen to have a factory that you can just hook up, and done, sorted, you get yourself a brand spanking new mining equipment ready to roll. Due to this, Vostroya became incredibly well versed, and a wealthy and very prosperous planet, able to output severe amounts of quantity, but also quality, as the arms and armor and equipment that came from the planet was said to be top-notch, rivaling even that of Mars herself. During the time of the big old warp storms, Vostroya was separated, and thus it developed into its own unique planetary system of governance, that being the Tekoks. The Tekoks were a combination of the old Admech Magos, but also the leaders and rulers of the caste of the planet. Thus did Vostroya develop and become this unique type of steampunk world. Judging from the looks of it, as you can tell, it takes a big influence from the time period of the 18th and 19th centuries. So, whereas in other places, people were experiencing a severe downturn and quite terrible circumstances, on Vostroya, due to its nature of being able to become self-sufficient, it was actually able to, not necessarily thrive, but it was able to exist. Let's go with that. It was able to keep on living when other people died. Because rip in pips. However, eventually, Big Ol' E would come up and he would begin the restoration of the galactic empire of humanity, under the Imperium of Man. And together with his union of Terra and Mars. And with the signing of the Treaty of Olympus, the two unions of Mars and Terra would be united. So as Big E returned and gobbled up all of that delicious space out there, so too the Mechanicus want their old Forge Worlds back in order. And lo and behold, Vostroya happened to be on that list. So, Vostroya gladly reintroduced and reinducted themselves back into the Empire, and began wholesale manufacturing and production of new equipment, goods, and every damn thing in between. And thus did it continue like this. Vostroya throughout the entirety of the Great Crusade proved to be a valuable instrument and an immense tool to the Galactic Imperium, as the quality of goods produced there was second to none, as not only had there been an incredible amount of resources on the planet, due to all the time and sustainability that they have, a unique culture was developed, where each tool was master crafted, artisan made. There were no mass manufactoriums or big production centers, everything was done by hand. Well, by hand I say, rather individually. With their use of advanced manufactorium techniques and incredible time and skill that they had, they were able to create weapons that far outstrip and outsurpassed almost anything else in the world. Again, matching that of Mars and Terra and Risa and other notable Forge Worlds. However, all good things must come to an end. And during this time we have the great comeuppance. A little bit of a scuffle, one might say, known as the Horus Heresy. Yes, indeed, the Giganto Civil War that absolutely made the American Civil War.
We'll all go down to Dixie, away, away. Each Dixie boy must understand that he must mind his Uncle Sam, away, away, away.
Look at that goddamn game, paddywhack. And yes indeed sir, you better give that dog a goddamn bone. So, during this time, the Imperium was scrambling for everything under the sun, as they needed to throw everything they had at the traitors. Anything from the kitchen sink to the bloody bathroom sink to every damn thing in between. They needed everyone and everything possible. And every nut, bolt, scrap, bayonet, gun, shell, human, individual, artificial robot, whatever the hell it is, they needed it, and they needed it quick. Lo and behold, did one of those messages come to the world of Vostroya, demanding a tithe increase to also include men, armed and armored of the planet. Vostroya had a bit of an issue with this, as they had already had a massive tenfold increase by Mechanicum in needs to arm and equip even more men. So, if they were already to ship and make subpar soldiers and need them over there, not only would it cut into their own specific ability to produce, but they saw it as a bit of a bullshit. Because it's like, hey, let's take these craftsmen and tradesmen, give them like 6 months of training and then yeet them off to go and die somewhere in some terrible siege, or you could have them produce equipment that would make a sustainable and far more better use of their time. Not to mention, you gain better, more available equipment at a faster pace. So Vostroya then declined on creating regiments from their planetary's populace. They then, however, proceeded to produce equipment loyally for the Imperium for the entirety of the time. However, eventually, the Horus Heresy would end and Big E would be sat upon a throne of gold and become the skelly boy that we know today. During this time, when the Administratum's Advocati Evocati Imperialis, aka the Tithe Keepers, decided to ring up and see exactly how many people died in the little kerfuffle of Horus and his horsey, they turned out that, hey, we finally got hold of that reply from Vostroya, and they were not really that happy, and decided to send it over to Guilliman. Now, very important to note, this whole situation was blown a bit out of proportion because right after a big civil war, everyone is questioning loyalty. It's like, hey, we asked you to do this, you didn't do it, you is sus, my guy. So, Guilliman decided to handle the matter personally. The Techarchs and the people as a whole were incredibly sorrowful and distraught of what happened. They felt an immense guilt, mostly because the Emperor died. And while their troops may have made practically no difference, they still felt that sense of duty, loyalty, and honor. So, they sat with the smaller version of Big E, aka Gilladad, and they were like, yo, we need to discuss and find out a way that we can repay this debt. Because we want to be good, we want to be loved by the Imperium, and we want to serve the Imperium. And we want to be redeemed. Guilliman was like, okay, but like, if I do this, you guys aren't going to be able to stop for a while and it's going to be really rough. Are you sure you want to do this? Because he wanted to give something else. We were like, no, we want this. So, thus did Guilliman decree that every single firstborn son from each and every family from the world of Vostroya, be the highborn elite or lowly menial worker, had to dedicate their son specifically to the raising of Imperial Guard regiments, to be outfitted, armed, and trained from that of Vostroya. And so, did the origins of the Vostroyan Firstborn come into being, with every single Firstborn son ever since the heresy being shipped off, trained, and readied before being deployed as part of the regiments of the Imperial Guard. And that tradition has continued unbroken for well over 10,000 years. And that gave rise to a very unique culture, but also a very, very unique regiment, as the Vostroyan Firstborn have served admirably throughout the entirety of their duration, becoming a synonym of elite, but also loyalty and well-equipped. The Vostroyan Firstborn have fought across the galaxy against every foe: orcs, Tyranids, Tau, Eldar, even fellow humans. It doesn't matter to them, they go wherever they are needed. And what's very unique about the Vostroyan Firstborn is that they are directly supplied from their homeworld continuously. You see, with Vostroya, each regiment is created, is never disbanded. The only times that will ever happen is such the case of the 9th Regiment, where it was absolutely destroyed, but mainly because it detonated a giant nuclear reactor to eliminate a splinter fleet of High Fleet Moloch. That's the only time a regiment ever gets destroyed, quote unquote. It will never be disbanded, it will never be folded, it will never be consolidated. Because every single year, Vostroyan Firstborn regiments receive brand new recruits from Vostroya every single year, because every single year a brand new generation of Vostroyans are ready to be shipped out. Because remember, the new recruits are added and created by year. In addition to this, not only does it mean that they have a full-on stream of new recruits every single time, each individual family on Vostroya works in the factorums. And the Vostroyans work a 10-hour shift, which is actually a pretty good fucking deal in the Imperium. And even like out of the Imperium, like it's not that bad. They work one 4-hour shift, they get an hour break, they work another 4-hour shift, but one particular hour of that time is dedicated to crafting weapons specifically for their family. So you will have a dad, or a brother, or an uncle, or a cousin. You can make him a set of carapace armor, a master-crafted las pistol, blast pistol, monomolecular bayonet, super duper awesome curved saber, anything you want. You get a full hour mandated by law dedicated specifically for crafting for your loved one. This means that the Vostroyan Firstborns not only get brand new shipments of troops every year, but also new shipments of equipment directly handcrafted, personally delivered from members of your own family. I need you to understand something. That is unfucking believable, my guy. In the place of Warhammer 40k, where everything from fucking goddamn food is mass-produced and stored in tins, these motherfuckers get shit perfectly handcrafted and delivered from their moms with a bloody note and freshly baked fucking cookies. Well, cookies, they're from Eastern Europe, so like, with fresh fucking pelmen. Yeah, pelmeni. Or severe. One of the two. Someone please tell me from Eastern Europe. Hi, hello, firstly, thank you for watching. Secondly, what's the fucking version of cookies there? Or do you just have a specific brand? Or it's like, I don't know. Pelmen. Those aren't cookies, those are fucking dumplings, but goddammit are they good. Anyway, moving on. Due to all the love, care, and most importantly, logistical support given by the World of Vostroya, Vostroyan Firstborn regiments are hilariously old, with almost all of them stretching back to the first founding of the regiments. These regiments have long, storied histories that even match some bloody Space Marines, that even surpass some Space Marines to be frank, and they have a unique tradition of not only military service, but also the feeling of loyalty and duty. And because of this, they've garnered one of the rare few honors of Imperial Guard regiments that are actually able to go back to their homeworld and visit. Yes, I'm not kidding. It rarely fucking happens, like, daily or anything, but every single regiment has a chance, if they are close to system, to stop at Vostroya for a parade and go and see their family. Because the Vostroyan Firstborns are just built different. Because of this, everything about them is centered around family and tradition of loyalty, honor, and a sense of duty. And this has created a unique sense amongst the regiment, as while the planet itself is based off 18th/19th century Europe, so you have the people working in the factories, which are the middle class and the working class, etc. But then you have the upper echelon elites, the aristocracy. Now they can be sometimes aloof in some cases, but it varies from time to time. But the one unique place that you have is the introduction of the military. You see, every single firstborn son serves together, and while the nobility usually make up the officer corps, they are often have a strong, friendly, loving bond with their soldiers because, again, they're all firstborn sons of Vostroya. In addition to this, social mobility outside of the military is nearly impossible, with the exception of some merchant guilds, etc., so on and so forth. But very often do Imperial troopers from Vostroya find themselves rising through the ranks and becoming officers of their own. In that case, they are actually welcomed, and there is very little discrimination, for they have shown themselves worthy and proved themselves honourable enough to bear the standard of a saber that is that of a Vostroyan officer. And as I said, they're all firstborn sons of Vostroya, so it produces that unique dichotomy between the social aspect but also the military. Oftentimes, especially during the 18th and 19th century, in the military the social dichotomy matched the military. But in this case, we see that there is an exemption in said dichotomy for the Imperium. Birds. So in this case, the military actually creates a new social order, that being of the Vostroyan Firstborn. If you are a firstborn of Vostroya, you are seen similar, if not very much the same, as those around you, be you highborn or noble, you are the same. You are brothers, you share blood, and you are part of the regiment, which is a unique thing that I personally enjoy myself. And thus, Vostroyan regiments have carried on continuously and served as expert, dutiful soldiers in every aspect. And they have continued to be serving. But the one thing that we haven't seen is Guilliman interacting with them yet, or to my knowledge at least. There's no been canon version. I wonder how Guilliman would respond to this. Would he be horrified that his original decree had gone this far? I mean, many have speculated that Guilliman basically only was like, hey, it's just these first generation of firstborn sons. But then the Administratum could have taken it literally because the Imperium is done like that. Given the pragmatic nature of Guilliman and how he wasn't exactly that super uber mad at them, it could have been this. So he may react with horror, with devastation at seeing this, or maybe he may react with pride, as that the Vostroyan Firstborn are the closest thing to the Solar Auxilia that we have in modern day 40k. We don't know. But they are a unique aspect of soldiers and troopers that still exist, and they themselves may indeed please Guilliman a little bit to know that, hey, not all of the Imperium is pretty fucked up, and we have these guys, at least they're relatively okay. Or maybe he'll just get even more depressed. Who knows? So, that was their history. Now, let's take a little dive into the whole idea of the regiment, as well as their traditions. So, the culture and the tradition of the regiment as a whole. We see that the Vostroyan Firstborns, their whole idea is family. I mean, that's the whole reason why that they give their firstborn sons. They want to show the Imperium and the Emperor that even though family means such a massive thing to them, their loyalty to the Imperium holds far more true than that. Many people have likened them unto the Deathcore, because they do share that type of, emotional baggage and generational curse, I guess you could say. But I would imagine them as a more healthier version of the Deathcore. Because, well, the Deathcore is the Deathcore. And while shovel memes are great, there is a level of crazy shit that they do that, little sus. No lie. But during this, we see that the Vostroyans place a great emphasis on not only their family, but also the quality of goods that they produce. They are a people, who always want to do their best, who are loyal beyond every factionable doubt, but moreover, they also do what is needed to be done in that sense. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the history of the Vostroyan Firstborn. And a little primer into this de facto miniseries. This wasn't meant to be a miniseries, but it happened to be. So, the next few episodes will be covering the Polish Winged Hussars and the Vostroyan Hussars, their equipment, recruitment, etc., so on and so forth. And then we will go into the Vostroyan Line Infantry and the Heavy Infantry of Vostroya, as well as the Heavy Tsar Guard of the Streltsy. And then finally, we'll be doing the Cossacks and the culture/traditions of the Vostroyan Firstborn. So a lot more to come. I wasn't necessarily sure how to do this, but I feel like doing this is easier and you guys were able to piece them together and means more videos for you guys. I don't know when this will be out, but it will be out when it's out. But until then, I love you, take care, God bless, make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, all that wonderful YouTube stuff. Check out my boys down below. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this, I hope you guys watch it, and also a massive thank you to my members, The Gaming Storyteller and Thomas Moselon. Love y'all guys. Yeah, I hope it really does well. But other than that, I've been General Bradley 101. You've been beautiful, awesome, and amazing people. Thank y'all also very much for watching, and I will catch y'all next time. Dismiss, Rangers!